Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast right here on the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. It's our Friday edition, and I'm Ross Benjamin, your host. I'm joined today by fellow GamblersWorld.net handicappers, Mr. Sean Higgs and Mr. Chip Chirimbes. And, guys, it's a pleasure to be with you today, and we got 3 Major League Baseball games we're going to be covering today. Our sponsor is GamblersWorld.net, where you'll find 11 of the finest handicappers in the country, including us 3, 8 other great handicappers as well. You've seen Jesse Schul on this show. You've seen Doug Upstone on this show. You've seen Kyle Hunter on this show. And we have Matt Fargo and a couple other guys that do very well over at GamblersWorld.net. And we guarantee our picks there, folks. If you don't win, you don't make a profit, we will credit your account back the exact amount of what you paid for that particular package or subscription plan. So without further ado, Sean, I'm so glad to see you, buddy. So glad to see that your family is safe.
Yeah.
You went through that hurricane down there by Houston. And nice of you to join us today, because I know it would have been easier to blow this off because trying to get regrouped there after that event. But how are you, my friend?
Pretty good. Wouldn't miss this. I had to move heaven and earth to be on the final show here. Yeah, you know what? Listen, no damage to my house. My mom's safe. We're all good. No, didn't lose much. I have a generator, so lose air conditioning is tough. The kids lose their minds with no internet, but hey, listen, I'm old school, so I could roll on a DVD player. We watched the Star Wars, the original trilogy of New Hope, Empire, and Jedi, and then Back to the Future. You know, all 3 of those.
All stuff that I love. All stuff that I really endear to.
You know, but hey, listen, we played. You know, it's a good family time, believe it or not. You know, it's nice. You got the. You know,
and you're safe, and the family's safe, and that's really at the end of the day. You could replace material things. The power will come on eventually. Nobody's going to fire you from your job when you're not there because you went through a hurricane and have no power. So at the end of the day, it makes you really appreciate the important things in your life. And you can't replace family members. You can't replace yourself. But
a lot of laughs. We were playing a game of life. It was pretty funny.
It's
good
game of life. Wow, that's an oldie.
You know, I like Russ. You guys know, my son's 17. My daughter's 14. So they're not exactly sit around and let's talk in bond time past dinner time. So you got nothing to do. It's fun. You sit around and you realize they're little people or young adults. It was good. So
well, you're not exactly the kumbaya convention master anyway. So in terms of tough love that you give those kids, and God bless them, they're doing well. But Sean mentioned final show. It's the final show for me today, folks, and I don't want to get too into detail on that right now. I'll close that up at the end. But it's been a nice ride here at Gamblers World. It's been a nice ride with Mr. Jim Quinn and my other producer, Seth. They've been instrumental in making this show a success. I will tell you that the show will continue. So it's not the final Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. Sean will take the torch for myself, and he'll be the host every day. And Chip will pitch in once in a while when we need a host, and he'll be a regular more often than not on the show. And, Chip, it's sort of ironic because when I first started this show, I started it solo. And then the first guy I brought on about 3.5 years ago as a regular guest was you.
Right.
And people don't realize this, but we had to come up with a name to the show. And Chip was the one who actually said, what about the Winner's Circle? And I said, I like that. And, that was 3.5 years ago. Yeah. And the Winner's Circle then, it's still the Winner's Circle now. Chipper, how are you, man?
I'm fine. I was in Florida at the time. And, even speaking about Florida, Sean, people just don't understand the kind of stress and turmoil you're going through when this happens unless you've lived through it. And I have in Florida, and I know Ross was in Florida and had some difficulty with hurricanes and power and water everywhere, not being able to move. And it's a pretty stressful time. And I'm glad to see you made it out, really. And,
thanks.
We didn't hear from you for 3-4 days, and we were all wondering what was going on. Were you okay and everything else? Because you never can tell. It's a really difficult situation for everybody.
Yeah, like with the people, everything is now like your phones, and if you have like a spotty service or there's no service or down, it's tough. Like my mom was be able to get in touch with people in New Jersey, so I'm like, how the heck do you have like your old geriatric iPhone 6 or whatever? I can't even get. I couldn't even like check an email. It is what it is. But
yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
it's weird.
yeah, I mean, like Chip said, I was in Florida for 7 years, and I went through probably 3 or 4 of those. And I'm probably being conservative, but in any event, what used to bother me the most, once the dust settled and the actual hurricane came through and passed, then you're left with no power. And that you look around and first of all, making sure everybody in your household is safe. And then, you make the sign of the cross when that happens. And then you make sure you take a look and assess your property. Okay, what's intact and what's not. But then you comes to the realization, I have no power. How long is this going to last? And it's like we take little things like that for granted. And we're in warm weather climates, Florida and Texas, and we have no air. And it usually happens in the summer months when it's the hottest. So,
and the thing Sean had to do was hook up his generator to what? His freezer and his refrigerator. You got to save food.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And his TV. So he had that. Anyway, I'm glad you're safe, Sean, and I'm glad you're here. And let's talk some baseball. Let's get to the meat and potatoes, as I like to call it. Chipper, you're going to be looking at Atlanta and San Diego.
Right.
And Spencer Schwellenbach is making a start. I'll pronounce it for you, Schwellenbach.
Right.
All right.
Well, wasn't there a coach for Miami close to the same pronunciation?
No, Schnellenberger.
Yeah, I know Schellenberger.
He had a great restaurant in Miami, by the way, and he was never there. It was just like they paid him to use his name, Schnellenberger's. It was great. Have you ever been there, son or Chip?
I don't know. I don't really remember.
Yeah, it was in. I want to say it was in. I can't remember now. It was in South Florida where I was. In any event, Spencer Schwellenbach gets a start for the Atlanta Braves. It'll be Randy Vasquez, the former Yankee property, on the mound for the Padres. 9:40 p.m. Eastern Time start. Right now, Atlanta's a -116 money line favorite, and the total in this game is 8.5. Chipper, where are you going with this one?
Well, when you look at this game with these two pitchers and their ERAs, especially the way Vasquez goes, I would normally think to play the over. But I just think Atlanta's the side here. They're coming off a 1-0 loss yesterday to Arizona, which was a power play for me. I had a great day yesterday. I went 3-0. But listen to some of these numbers that Vasquez has put out. Not only 2-4 with a 4.66 ERA, but in 58 innings. Usually I give you the opposite kind of stats with this, but in 58 innings, he's given up 79 hits, Ross. And in 58 innings, he only has 38 strikeouts. He's surrendered 11 home runs. I think Atlanta is still a much better club, but they haven't quite come to their talent level as of yet. And San Diego, surprisingly, has been playing pretty good baseball. I mean, they're tied for the Mets with the Mets right now for the final wild card spot. He's pitched versus Atlanta one time. He gave up 3 runs and 10 hits in 6 innings. I have to take the Braves here. Atlanta, I know, has been sputtering, and they just aren't in full sync. Maybe after the All-Star break, they'll come back with some better numbers and performance. But right now, this is a play against Vasquez. He's been so weak, and maybe Schellenbach isn't the greatest in the world for Atlanta, but I think it's time for them to bounce back. I'd take Atlanta here.
All right, so Chipper says take the Atlanta Braves -116 on the money line over to San Diego Padres tonight in Major League Baseball. Sean, Chip brings up some good points about Vasquez, but, over his last 3 starts, he's got a 1.76 ERA. However, we look at the whip, 1.37 in those 3 starts, and that doesn't correlate to a 1.76 ERA. So he's been a little bit fortunate is where I'm going with that. And he's pitched a hell of a lot better at home than on the road. I mean, at home, he's got a 3.41 ERA, on the road, 6.15. He's made 6 home starts, 6 away starts, so pretty balanced. And the Padres, like Chipper said, is playing pretty good baseball. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, he talked about the Braves playing up to their lineup name potential. Padres are in the same kind of boat the last few years, the way they are. And, they've dropped 4 in a row. As good as they are, they're in the wild card hunt. They are still not a great team. I mean, they're a 500 team, 49 and 47. But I agree, though. I kind of like the Braves here. I'm not going to jump on a squad like the Padres who have dropped a few in a row. I maybe an under. Like the Braves, what scares me at the Braves, because I was going to say, I get greedy, Ross. I would have been like, let's take a run line plus 140 with the Braves here instead of laying 108. They are such a 54 and 33 to the under.
Yeah.
That's really outstanding.
Like I love their lineup, and we saw how good it was to start the season, and it's been just anemic since. I don't know. Listen. I like the Braves to win this one because the Padre pitching. I don't like Vasquez all that much, although he's put together a couple nice starts. I'm not a big fan of the bullpen. I'm going to say I'll concur with Chip here. Let's go.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, right? Atlanta, to me, has a big advantage when it comes to bullpen. They're right up there amongst the MLB leaders in bullpen ERA and WHIP. And, it could be the difference in a game like this. Right. You might have a game that, you're behind going into the 6th, 7th inning, and you got the advantage with the bullpen. So all good points, guys. So at the end of the day, it's Chipper taking the Atlanta Braves minus 116 over the San Diego Padres. Folks, don't forget, gamblersworld.net. If you look at the leaderboards, Chip is number 1 the last 7 days, 30 days, and 60 days over at Gamblers World. So he's been on quite a roll. He's coming off a 3-0 night in Major League Baseball, really starting to come on, as he said, a little bit streaky, but at the end of the day, those streaks, a lot better hot streaks than very little bad streaks, and it's equated to some pretty good profit in Major League Baseball this year. Sean, always a good Major League Baseball handicapper. If you enjoy volume of plays, he'll provide it for you. And like Sean likes to say, in Major League Baseball, it's not about win percentage. It's about money earned. It's about ROI. So I think people lose concept of that as they go along. Okay. Also, folks, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, which is Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel, please take a second to do so. Boy, oh boy. I had to do that one last time. Just hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, if you're on your PC, you'll see a WC logo in the bottom right-hand corner of the page. Click on that, and it's absolutely free to do so, folks, and you'll be privy to some of the best sports betting experts in all the world right here at the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. And also take the time to click the alert notification bell, and you'll be notified upon any of our 5 podcasts going up here weekly at the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. All right, Sean, we didn't know if you were going to be here or not, but I'm glad you are. And you're coming in with the Texas Rangers and Houston Astros game. It'll be left-hander Andrew Heaney going for the Texas Rangers. And it will be right-hander Hunter Brown for the Houston Astros. And boy, oh boy, the Astros, I had them last night over 4.5 runs, and they surpassed that like the 5th inning, which they've been scoring a lot of runs of late. But it doesn't matter what I think on this matchup. It's more important what you think, because you're the one giving out the pick. Take it away, my friend.
I say, for old time's sake, you just don't call me Craig today a little bit.
No, I wouldn't insult you like that. So go ahead.
So the Astros actually, the mayor got mad at them for playing a game the other day, I guess on Tuesday after the fact, because they played a game after the hurricane, and the Astros were like, hey, you know what? Why are you mad at us? We had air conditioning, we had food for these people. Well, like half the city doesn't have air conditioning. What do you? Let's cool down 30,000 people and give them a win on top of it. So Houston, not that we had them left for dead to start the year, right? They were not hitting. They were hitting. They just weren't scoring runs, which is why they're 52 and 37 to the under. The pitching staff was in shambles, bunch of 4 and 5 inning guys, but yet here they are, right on the heels of Seattle now. What a run for them! 16 and 4 last 20. Do I want to lay 150 here with Hunter Brown? I can't do that, and I like Hunter Brown a lot. I'm going to look at the total here, though, under the 8. Yes, Heaney got shelled. If you look at both of these pitchers way back in April, now early April, we knew Hunter Brown. He had terrible numbers to start. We've seen him improve. I mean, last 7, the guy has a 1.9 whip. Totally different pitcher than when he gave up 5 runs and 8 hits in 4 innings versus these guys. And Heaney as well. He pitched against them. I think it was the 8th and the 15th. Yes, 8th and the 13th. 3 2/3 innings in both games. 4 hits, 6 runs in one game, 2 in the other. But again, that was a different kind of pitcher because you look at how he's pitched the last 7. He's been respectable. And now, is he going to come out here and give up 7 runs? I don't think so. Astros, you see some guys sitting at the All-Star game. They're kind of going into the break a little bit. I think they win this. I don't think they put up a ton of runs. I like the under. Texas, again, all season long, cannot hit. 51-38 to the under. The hitters have not come around to hit. The pitching, this is a team that had 7 starters on the injured list. I've said it multiple times when we've covered the Rangers this thing. Yet they still, with fill-in pitchers, they do the job. They can go out there. Right, we talk about guys who go out and throw slop. Well, that's the entire Ranger pitching staff is a bunch of slop throwers at times, and yet they still shut down offenses. I'm going to go under the 8 here. Granted, Astros, I think they're number 2 versus lefties, hitting like 269. They are hot. If this is 5-1, I'll take it. Give me the under 8.
All right, so I would say this is a very brave pick. Texas and the Astros under the total of 8. You know,
this has come down from 8.5, Ross. This was 8.5.
I mean, that should tell you something right there. You know, I always say think like an odds maker, and Sean, you absolutely are in this particular situation because, like I said, Houston's been scoring a ton of runs here. Chip, what do you think about the slot pitching Texas Rangers and? You know, you can make a case, Chipper, that these 2 teams are the most underachieving teams in the American League at this point of the season, and possibly even in, one of the top 5 in baseball, both teams, as far as being underachieving compared to where they've been in recent years. Texas, the defending champions, you know, so I know injuries have been a vital thing for, or have hindered, I should say, the Texas Rangers, but in any event, what do you say about this one, Chip?
Well, you know, you're talking about Houston and how they're struggling, and but they've been there before, and they've come back from having great winning seasons and World Series. The Rangers haven't. Last year was an anomaly for them, and they came virtually from out of nowhere. They went and grabbed all these players, and it really came out. It worked out for them. I don't expect the Rangers to get any better. I really do. You know, they may say they have a little hangover, but I just think they are who they are. Last year, they had a great run. We did great with them last year. But I like this Hunter Brown. He is electric at times. And, of course, the starting pitcher for Texas, Heaney, did you realize 4 years ago he was an opening day starter for the L.A. Angels? And it seems like such an underachiever if that's where you're going to have him. If this guy's going to be an opening day pitcher. Yet I like Houston here. If I was to play the game, I don't like laying that price. Sean gave me a little discouraging words here when he said he looks for it to go under, because I'm thinking rather than laying $1.50, I might take the runs and lay a 1.5. I might take the money and lay a 1.5. But Houston would be my side either way, and I just don't expect Texas in the second half of the season to come on strong. Although I do expect the Astros to improve. After their horrid start, it looks like they were sleepwalking the first 2 months, but they started to pick up the tempo a little bit, and I'll take Houston here with Brown.
All right, so there, I agree with that assessment in terms of Texas not getting any better and Houston improving in the second half. Sean, you've mentioned it on several occasions when we talked about MLB futures. Maybe it was a month ago or so, and you said, and we talked about. I always been an advocate. I don't take 5-to-1s or 6-to-1s in Major League Baseball futures. Okay, it's a 162 game season, and I want to get a better return and look for some hidden value maybe at the point of the season we were talking about. And you had mentioned you thought that Houston at that time was a pretty good value, and that people were overlooking them because of the bad start they had.
So. When we were talking about that, it was like I said, any of these, he had Seattle was struggling at the time.
All right, we lost Sean here for a second. Hopefully everything's okay.
Oh, I'm back. Here we go.
All right. Okay.
I was like, here I go. I'm back. I'm out of the picture again.
Yeah.
We had the defending champs who had struggled. We had Houston who haven't pitched or hit, and then you had Seattle who was not hitting at all. I said those were a team you want to look at anywhere in the league. Those were where I would have went. And here come Houston, 6 straight ALCSs. I mean, you got to give them. And now here they're looking for a big bat. They're looking at Alonso. They're looking at Vaughn to bring in. Now I'm all, me. I'm all about the pitchers, right? We talk about the Yankees pitcher. And speaking of which, Andrew Heaney you brought up as an opening day starter, Chip. 9th overall pick in the first round for the Marlins back in 2012. So
wow.
A lot of high. He was. You get picked in the first round, you're expected, I guess, to be pretty good.
Right.
But baseball, how many number 1 overall picks can you really name? I mean, we talked about like Griffey, and I guess now you have Strasburg and Skeens, but baseball's a tricky one when it comes to these for the draft.
It's not an exact science, is it?
Yeah.
You go and look at some of these guys that get drafted ahead. You're like, who? What? Wow.
Yeah. And how many guys you see a 27th or 33rd round pick? And again, it's not like the NFL. There's a lot of players drafted in Major League Baseball.
Crazy.
That make it and make it big, So a lot of things could happen, especially with pitchers. A guy gets drafted that high like Heaney. It's based on his velocity. It's based on how well a pitcher he is, meaning changing speeds, hitting corners and all that kind of stuff. And then you get an arm injury that derails your whole career. So
people make fun of like a Sean Manaea, right? Like, oh, Manaea's terrible. That guy's pitched for a decade like Heaney, and he was like I think he was picked like 32 overall. He was like in the in-between round as a free agent. I mean,
well, you know what, Sean? They always say if you want your kid to have a shot of making the major league,
throw lefty.
Throw lefty, man.
Throw lefty.
Because that's you're 1 step ahead of any kid that's throwing righty with all things being equal.
Yep.
Okay, so. But when I think Andrew Heaney, I don't know. It's just me, my perception. The first word that comes to my mind or first description that comes to my mind with Andrew Heaney is mediocrity. I mean, that's just the impression I get every time I look at him when it comes to him popping up on the board as a starting pitcher. That's not to say he doesn't have his good moments, because he does. Like Sean said, the guy was highly regarded in the draft, number 9 overall. You got to be really good at that point if you're drafted that high. All right, let me get to my game, and then we'll wrap things up here. The Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles. The Yankees with Garrett Cole on the mound tonight, making his 5th start since returning from the DL. And the Baltimore Orioles will go with Cade Povich, who'll be making his 7th ever Major League Baseball start. All previous 6 came this year. The Yankees right now, they opened as a -130 favorite. They're down to -116, and the total in this game is 9, which if you would have told me early on in the year that there was going to be a game with Garrett Cole on the mound and a total of 9, I would have told you you're crazy, because, usually we're looking at totals of 8.5 or lower with Garrett Cole. However, his first 4 starts have been less than impressive. But, here's the thing. He's pitched very well at Camden Yards throughout his career. 7 career starts at Camden Yards with a 2.27 ERA, a 103 whip. And the key factor here, because Camden Yards is considered a hitter-friendly park, Cole has only allowed 2 home runs in 43 2/3 at Camden Yards in his career. And the other part of the equation is Baltimore right now. They're 0-4 in their last 4 at home, guys, and not only 0-4, but shockingly, they've only scored a combined 4 runs in those 4 losses. And they're coming off the last 2 nights in which they were shut out by the Cubs. And the Yankee bullpen, which I've been highly critical of over the last couple of weeks, they really started to come on a bit since the beginning of July, since July the 1st specifically. A 2.50 ERA and an 0.89 whip. And they're number 1 in strikeout percentage, meaning they've struck out 32.9% of the hitters they face, meaning the Yankees bullpen since July the 1st. And that's the best in baseball right now. I mentioned Cade Povich. 6 starts this year, a 6.51 ERA and a 1.89 WHIP. Not exactly boding confidence for Orioles backers. And, in the 6 starts he's made, the opponents have averaged 6.8 runs per game in those starts. And since July the 1st, as opposed to the Yankees, the Baltimore bullpen, which was so good early on, has been faltering. They're number 28 in Major League Baseball since July the 1st in ERA. And they're also allowing 1.6 home runs per 9 innings pitched, which is 23rd in Major League Baseball during that course of time. And their ERA since July the 1st as a staff, meaning the bullpen, is 6.42. I'm not going to use this on my premium board, but I think this is a good spot. They're catching the Yankees, who have been struggling mightily, are catching Baltimore at the right time. And I think this is one of those occasions where Garrett Cole will step up and start to progress and get better as time goes on here. And I think it starts right here. I'm going to go with the Yankees minus 120 at Baltimore. Chipper?
Ross, I see everything that you're saying. Cole's given up 5 home runs in 17 innings already, and you're talking about what a hitter-friendly park the Oriole Park is.
Yeah, but 4 came in 1 start, Chipper. Well, it's Citi Field. Yeah,
I like the Yankees here, like you do, and I like the game actually because I played against both these teams yesterday. Megabuck winner with Chicago over Baltimore, and I think for the most part, I might have been the only person on that side in that game against Burns. But Baltimore. They're an underdog at home in this situation where they have a lead over the Yankees, and the Yankees only won 7 of their last 25. I'm looking for Cole to have a good performance here. I think the Yankees are the side. This rookie they're up against is, like you said, giving up a slew of runs almost every time out. And I just, the Orioles just lost 3 straight at home to the Cubs, 4 straight at home overall, like you said. And I'd rather continue with that streak than think that I'm going to break it. And, baseball's a game of streaks. We've talked about this numerous times. And good teams go bad and bad teams have great runs. And I would play against the Orioles here, most likely, even if it wasn't Cole and the Yankees out there. But my side to the Yankees, without a doubt, being favored in Baltimore.
Yeah. And you look at their struggles of late, too, So,
yeah.
The Yankees, I think they're 6-17 over the last 23 games or something like that.
7-18.
And I don't want you to feel alone, Chip. Okay. I don't want you to feel like you're on an island, but on another network, I gave out the Cubs as a free play. So,
okay.
Brilliant minds think alike. And now I hope that you don't feel as isolated as you did before that statement.
But, we should do a little more discussion, and we're not always in contact like we have been in the past. But
no,
it's good to hear that you were on the same side, because that was my top release yesterday.
Yes. Sean, I love when the Yankees topic comes up because I would like to say that the hair raises on Sean's head, but that would be a terrible, terrible description. But Sean, I don't know what raises, but I know your blood pressure goes up when you talk about the Yankees. So go ahead.
Well, I'm going to be a Cole backer here today with you guys. I think the Yanks are in a spot here. It's a Yankee spot. Believe it or not, they're getting a little better hitting lefties here. They're up to 14th best in the league, where earlier they were hitting like a 230 clip. So they raised the average a little bit, finding the back of their baseball card, so to speak. And also, listen, if you like the Yanks at Cole today, it's we started to show they are a 116, 119 area. I'm seeing 129s now all of a sudden on Cole. People will probably see that low number and start jumping on them, which sort of makes sense. It's the big name. But like Chipper said, Baltimore's lost 3 in a row. They got a guy on who's giving up a ton of runs. I think Yankees and the over are probably kind of a mix here. Like you're going to – if you want to take Baltimore, again, do you want to really – take a plus 105? I don't know. Maybe you do. I think we'll see some runs here today, though. It's July in Baltimore. I think we're going to see some hits. The lineup, especially a team off of a shutout, I don't like kind of going against, right? It's tough to shut down offenses. Like this isn't the White Sox offense or some anemic Banda bunch up here. You got a bunch of guys here who can rake. So I like the Yanks and the over. Sign me up here. I'm good. I think we'll hit some runs here. 9, 8.5, 9.
You make a good point. And again, think like an odds maker, Chipper, because the Yankees have scored 4 runs or less in 11 of their last 14 games. Baltimore, as I alluded to, they've lost 4 straight at home. They've scored 4 combined runs, and they've been shut out the last 2 nights. Povich, I mentioned his numbers, terrible. And Garrett Cole has struggled in his first 4 starts, ERA of over 6. But you also look at Garrett Cole's real good ERA at Baltimore in 7 career starts, yet this total is 9, despite these 2 teams' offensive struggles. I got to believe that they're begging you to take the under here, Chip.
Maybe so, but that Camden Yards is such a hitter's park. It's hard for me to think about playing under. And maybe Cole's going to come up with a stellar performance. The Yankee bats haven't been anywhere near where they were the first 70 games of the season. Judge is only 2 for his last 20, hasn't hit a home run in 8 games. The Yankees have lost 7 of their last 8 series and pushed the other one. So they're in a dire need for a win. And rather than think about the runs, I think I gravitate toward the Yankees here.
Yeah, I mean, I gave you the Yankees as a free pick. For the sake of conversation, that total jumped out at me being 9 with Cole on the mound and with Baltimore's offensive struggles and the Yankees' offensive struggles. Why is this total 9? That's all. That's where I was going with this. Anyway. Right. Chipper, you've been red hot. And how hot? Well, let me, if you give me a second, I'll tell you how hot. Chipper has been on a nice roll. He's coming off a 3-0 night, like I said, in Major League Baseball last night. Chip is number 1 the last 7 days, number 1 the last 30 days, number 1 the last 60 days in all sports. Major League Baseball. Let's go there. Chipper, number 1 the last 7 days, number 1 the last 30 days, and that's it. Mr. Higgs, where are you?
What are you going to say? I didn't say nothing. I mean, the guy's number 1. Go, guy. You guys were hot.
Chipper, I mean, Sean is number 3 in Major League Baseball the last 60 days, up $3,970. And also number 3 the last 90 days, up $2,042. So, there you have it. I am number 2 overall since the site's inception in Major League Baseball, up $2,895. Also number 2 to Chipper over the last 7 days. I've gone 7-2 with the profit of $1,670. So 3 guys getting it done, and I will be posting picks right through Sunday here at gamblersworld.net. But Sean, take it away. Tell the folks a little bit of what you may have coming up today. And what the folks could look forward to over the weekend before the All-Star break.
Well, top MLB, but listen, the power comes back on. The food was saved. My mom was already here. All her stuff was turned off. I jumped right online last night and into baseball, see what I missed the last couple of days, see the crazy chaos, couple little car ride down the road for me. But I got a top play in baseball ready to rock. And it'll be a MLB. I love my MLB, so this is perfect time for me. It's perfect time. I'm get ready for some football, though. I'm gonna, I've popped in my college football, getting ready. Maybe, who knows, some totals or something. We'll see. But right now, it's July. It is baseball, front and center, 7 days a week.
I talked to Jim Quinn, our owner, about this at length on the phone the other day. I've had this discussion with you, and I really hope we implement this at gamblersworld.net because Sean is a volume player, and sometimes people get scared away from investing money in the subscription plan with a guy who bets volume because obviously a lot of people, one of the main drawbacks for many sports bettors is a lack of discipline, and you really have to be disciplined when you're a volume player. So hopefully in the near future, what you're going to see with Sean is 2 separate clubs. One is VIP club, for lack of a better phrase, where you're going to get anywhere from 1 to 3 picks, his top picks of the day. And then if you like the volume, then we'll provide you with another club where you get all of his picks every day. So look forward to that going forward. Chipper, you've been on a roll, brother.
Yeah.
And what could the folks expect from you today and over the weekend?
Well, thank you very much. Going 18-4 with our megabook plays. That's the single strongest play of the day for me each and every day, almost each and every day. I have a 3-pack out there today with a Megabuck winner. But you know, Ross, one thing we've almost neglected today, it is July 12th, and there is an anomaly. Do you know the Cy Young won his 300th career game in 1901? Now, my thoughts are, if he had won 20 games a year for 15 years, he had to start like the 1860s. I mean, really, at 1885. 300th win in 1901? I mean, and he ends up with 511, of course, and now we know why the Cy Young Award comes out there. But I didn't realize that he had so many wins before baseball even had turned into the century, into the 20th century. But as far as tonight goes, I really feel happy. We're on this roll. We feel very comfortable with the games we see. And I posted a 3-pack out there. And, you know, all I say is log on, follow the buy links, become an A-play winner, Ross.
All right, brother. Yeah, so, you know, back then there was, I don't think anybody was keeping track of pitch counts. And back then,
right,
it was a 4-man rotation, not a 5-man rotation. And back then there was nobody monitoring.
All right, the guy went 30. He went 36-12 in 53 games one year.
Yeah, wow. It's amazing, right?
He was 25. So, they just took Paul Skeens out of a game. He threw 7 innings. This guy, 453 innings, 363 hits.
Yeah,
they got a whip. He has a whip.
I think Denny McClain won 30 games in 1969, and then he never even came close to being a consistent 20-game winner, let alone 30 games. So my point being is
35-10 when he's 24, 64 games.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. All right, folks. So I'll still be posting at gamblersworld.net through Sunday. My 5% top plays are 22-9 since February the 4th. So I'll definitely have one of those before I leave for you. So keep an eye on those. And Major League Baseball since June 21st, 25-16, 61%, profit of over $2,500. So all three of us are really knocking them dead right now in Major League Baseball. All right, so here's the tough part, and as much as I come across as a tough guy, folks, I am sometimes been known to get a little emotional, so I'm going to do my best to keep my poise through this. We started this project 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, somewhere in that area, and I want to thank Jim Quinn first and foremost. Nobody else believed in me at that time, and he gave me an opportunity here, and I ran with it. And wasn't always smooth at the beginning, but we kept at it. We grinded, and we're now just short of 14,000 subscribers, and I'm very proud of that. And then I added in guys like Chipper and Sean Higgs and Jesse Schul and Doug Upstone, and those guys will forever be my friends. I'm going to be going to wagertalk.com. I signed a contract with them 2 weeks ago, and they, if you know anything about Wager Talk, they want their guys to be exclusive. It was an uncomfortable decision. Those are the kinds of decisions you have to make in life once in a while. But I want you guys to continue to support this channel. I thank each and every one of you out there who has supported us over the years, and I would hope that you would continue to support, with Sean being your everyday host, and guys like Chipper and Jesse, who won't be with us anymore either, but Kyle Hunter and Doug Upstone and the whole cast of characters that will be here at gamblersworld.net. We'll continue to bring you a quality product each and every day. But again, I hope I didn't miss anybody. Oh, my man Seth, who's been our producer. He's behind the scenes, does all of our graphics, does a great job, and puts up with a lot of our horse shit. So in any event, until the next time, folks, and there will be a next time, I'd like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. And for Chip Chirimbes, Sean Higgs, and yours truly, take care and God bless, folks.